Welcome to another episode of the Public Speaking Expert Podcast. My name is Elliot Kay, and I am your host that is going to be discussing various elements around public speaking, how to get booked, how to get paid, how to market yourself, how to speak with authority, and of course, throughout this series, which is all about influence, how to be more influential. What are the key things that influence? So far in season 2, we had a variety interviews with a variety of experts. And of course, we've talked about the influence of AI as an expert, as a speaker. And today I'm going to talk about what is it that people that book you look for, right? And I think it's really important because a lot of people underestimate the importance of this knowledge. And if you know this knowledge, then you might be able to get booked more and get paid more. But a lot of people skip things, take shortcuts. So today I want to really talk about what it is that event organizers, conference organizers, people like that want when it comes down to booking you. So let's talk about the pre-booking, right? Let's talking about even before entering the conversation of being booked. Got to have an online presence, period, right? So if they look at you, they've got to see that you're an expert in what you're speaking about, that there's evidence of you speaking about it, and then there's consistency of that evidence of you speaking about it, and then there's content about what you speaking about it. So these are some things that the people will look at before considering you, or if you send an application in, for example, through our Gig Getters alert service, which you can sign up for, then these are the things they'll just look at, and you wouldn't know they look at you, and you don't know who's looking at you, which is why everything needs to be consistent. It needs to be fresh. It needs to be well thought of, as well. What's the word I'm looking for? Well articulated, well presented. Um, Make sure you're aware of the images and everything like that. So that's even the pre kind of getting booked. Now, let's say that you apply or you're invited to speak. So again, what do they look for? They look for a really solid bio, and the bio needs to tell them what's in it for them and for the audience, right? So the bio is a key thing. The images that you've got of you speaking that they would use to promote you at their events or to showcase you, the images are important. You've got to have a solid show reel. Right. You've got to have a solid show reel. And by the way, we also have a presentation checklist. So for anyone that wants it, just drop us a line and we'll send you the link to it, which gives you this information. They want to see a really solid show reel that, again, that what they're booking you for captured in 2.5 to 3.5 minutes. I know some agents will only watch 15 seconds of one. So that's how good your upfront content needs to be. So your show reel is really important. Your speaker website's very important. And again, what's very important is it's got to look your fee, right? So it's got to look the same. It's got to look your fee. And that's what's really important when it comes down to those elements of getting booked and what they're looking for. Now, let's say the contacts happen, right? So you've sent everything off and now you're getting on the call. Several things they're looking for from the conversation from you. They're looking for clarity, right? They want to know that you know what you're talking about from the moment you open your mouth to the moment you close the call. And that includes your pricing, right? So again, they'll ask you questions like, okay, great. We really like your stuff. Can you tell us what you'll talk about our events? Be ready. Can you tell us what's in it for the audience? Can you tell us how you're different from all the other speakers out there? All of these bits and bobs, that's what they want to know on the call. And can you tell us your price? Now, one of the key sticky moments comes from either not knowing your price, not knowing how to position your price and justify it, or from the simple fact that you're hesitant when sharing your price. So again, that's the kind of things that will put event organizers off. So to say, look, I'm $5,000 and here's what you get. And if you can explain that and they can see the value, great. The reason I'm $5,000 is because the audience have an immersive experience. They walk away with these key takeaways. Everybody gets a copy of my book, right? That's all included. Travel expenses on. And that's kind of the language and the certainty you need to talk at, right? The other thing, of course, if you're unsure and you're not like, look, this is my fee, this is my fee, this is my fee, you go, what is the speaker budget? What did the speaker that did my slot last year get paid? And that can allow you to determine, because you can say, like, for example, when people inquire about my fee, I say I'm from 3.5 grand upwards. And if it's a bureau and agency, I say not including, right, your fee, i.e. your fees on top of that. so they know, right, the parameters of that. So those are the kind of things they're looking for in the conversation. They want to confirm that you are who you are. The other thing they're going to be looking for, by the way, is they're going to be looking for someone that's fairly easy to work with. Now, it is known for many speakers in the industry can have egos. This is true. Yes, they have egos. This is true. And what happens is then, while you might get booked, you might not get repeat bookings, or they'll go with a person that was just a bit nicer or friendlier or easier to work with. So again, does depend on context, does depend on the event, depends on so many things. But generally they want people that are there to support the event, to make the event look good. And what I would say with that is, yes, look, of course we all get annoyed, and we have these prior, these pre-conversations, decision conversations, and they don't always do what they say they're going to do. What I'd like to think is this, like, in the grand scheme of things, did it really matter? Now, of course, if you were promised a first class flight and you get economy, and they promise you a suite and you get a motel, yes, these are things that, like, will pass. But if the lunch wasn't great, or the things weren't quite as expected, I would watch where I put my energy. Because the bigger conversation is, again, repeat booking, how well you work together, how well they're likely to recommend you, how well they're likely to do business with you again, or put you on other events, because of a lot of these obviously put on multiple events. So I just want you to be aware of that. Okay, so they'll be looking easier to, and then of course there's you showing up, right? What do they look for? They look for speakers that are there on time or early, period. They're looking for how you engage with the audience. So do you just march in, speak, and march off? Again, that's okay if that's what you do, but they'll be looking at that. They want to know that you're going to deliver what you're saying and deliver, right? That what you signed the contract for is what you deliver. It's not okay not to. It's just not okay to change your content, or not show up on time, or run over is the other things a lot of speakers are guilty of. It's not okay to run over because you push all the other speakers, or you shorten their whole slots when it comes down to it, right? So they're going to be looking for that. Do you deliver what you contracted to deliver? Were you easy to work with? Did you go beyond a little bit? People always like massive value. Did the audience really appreciate what it is you were sharing and why you were sharing it? Did you have implementable steps for them to walk away with? And then again, this isn't a must, but of course, what you did afterwards, right? What you did afterwards is really important as well. So, did you send them a thank you message? Did you send them a thank you bottle of wine? So, all these little things you don't have to do, because, of course, you're the speaker and they paid you, but all the little things that make a difference towards you having a greater working relationship with them. And that's what they're looking for as well, right? Now, of course, there's various ways they can determine it, right? They could look at the type of event, obviously your expertise and your reputation, right? But they're going to research you, right? The big events, the paying events will research you, period. So make sure, and I talked about your online presence, make sure if they researched you, that everything that shows up is bloody good, right? The next, they'll also look at recommendations. Who's recommended you? Where have you spoken for? Like, who has booked you in the past? All these kind of things as well, right? So just be aware that everything matters, because everything you put out there is all about moving the needle that step towards working with you, booking you, paying you, right? And when they're looking for speakers, they're looking for relevancy. Like, how relevant are you to today, to their industry, to the audience, and to the event? They're looking at your expertise. How far along the line is your expertise? Do you have a good reputation? Of course, they're going to want to know that you're available. And we've talked about this, your cost, which is where it's so important that you're absolutely clear about your cost, right? So if you're not getting booked, have a listen back to this podcast. Where aren't you showing up in excellence? Where aren't you giving the people the opportunity to book you? Why are they going with someone else? What is your competitors in your space doing so well that they seem to be speaking all the time and you're not? Or if you're really, really well booked, is it time to get an agent? Right. So just keep that in mind. when it comes down to it. But if we shrunk down this episode to some keywords, it's how, you know, when they research you, do they find what they're looking for? Do you have really good recommendations? Are you relevant to the industry, to them, to their event, to today's world? Are you an expert, and how far down the line of an expert are you? Do you have a good reputation? And of course, are you availability, and are you cost effective? Or are you the right cost? Or are you over expensive or cheap? Some people, I tell them, are 5 to 10 grand, like, oh, you're too cheap. Okay, then pay me double. Do you think they do? I will answer that question on the next episode. So this has been another episode of the Public Speaking Expert podcast. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and of course, leave us a comment. If you leave us a comment, I'll send you a copy of my book. Let us know you've done it though, okay? And we are here. And we released an episode every single Saturday. That's right. And if you want to see me live, I record these live every Monday on LinkedIn. We do one live recording on LinkedIn and YouTube. So if you are watching on any of those, make sure that you subscribe to those so you can be notified when I go live. So in the meantime, make sure you go out there, be seen, be heard, and always be more giraffe. Till the next time, people, go and get booked. Bye.